Hello folks, this is Sula once again. Welcome to another video for Teamfight Tactics. This is the start of a new set. This is set 7 of Teamfight Tactics, officially named Dragonlands, and the theme for this set is that a lot of the gameplay is going to revolve around dragon units. We've got some cool new artwork here. We are finally not on the public beta environment. This is on the live client where this has been released to the public. And I'm going to use this as an introductory video to talk a little bit about the new set. As I usually do when I do my first video for a new set, I'm going to assume that the person watching is not familiar with Teamfight Tactics to go through some of the basic concepts. And this will be old hat for people who have played a lot of Teamfight Tactics. As I said, this is set 7, so it's not like the game is new at this point, but there's always people coming in who are new at the beginning of the set, and I don't think that it hurts to refresh that knowledge. All right, so as we said, Teamfight Tactics is a person versus person game, PvP game, and the basic idea of this game is you form a team with different characters using the League of Legends champions, and they all have various different abilities, but you kind of build your team based on these little characters, and then you pit your team against the other players. Yeah, each lobby has 8 people in it, and you keep having combat against one another until there's only one person left, and that person is the winner of the game. This is a normal game. In the ranked version of the games, if you're in the top 4, you will gain the ranked points, LP, and if you're in the bottom 4, you will lose them. So generally, going top 4 is considered to be a win, just FYI. So every single game of Teamfight Tactics will always start with a carousel. You will pop onto the carousel where there are, a bunch of champions each holding an item, and then you will grab one for your first unit, and that will start out as the basis of your team. Normally people pick based on what item they're holding, but sometimes you might want to pick a League of Legends champion that you particularly want. And then you have a couple of minion rounds to build out your initial team. So we started with the carousel, then we had 3 minion rounds, and then we will have our first person versus person round starting on stage 2-1. We also have a chance to pick an augment. This was the set mechanic in set 6, and it is back again here for set 7. So you will get different augments at 3 points in time throughout the game. They have different benefits. I am going to take a generic augment here, Cybernetic Shell. It means that units that are holding an item will gain some additional health and some additional armor. And I'm going to take that because, number one, it's just kind of generically good in all circumstances. But I'm also going to take it because it synergizes well with the team that I'm planning to run, which is going to be kind of a very tanky board. I actually have a pretty tanky front line right now, but I don't have a whole lot of damage in my team. All right, so you will see these traits on the side of the screen. Those are the traits that I have in play. If you look at the shop underneath the screen, which on this pre-recorded footage you can't see right now, but you will be able to see shortly, you'll notice that there are different champions in the store, and each champion has different traits. So, for example, I have in there right now Leona. She's the one with the belt, which gives her additional health. The tanky champion with the big shield. Her traits are Mirage and Guardian. And so she gives me 1 rank of Guardian, 1 rank of Mirage, and then by pairing with other units who have the same traits, I have Yone in there who also has the Mirage trait, I have Taric in there who also has the Guardian trait. You can get additional ranks in those traits, and then that will put them in play, and of course they all have various benefits. Each unit, of course, has its own abilities as well. Every unit has some kind of ability. When they fill up their mana bar, they will then use that ability, and you'll get some kind of effect. So, for example, I have Sejuani in the middle of my team. Sejuani is the person on the big boar. Her ability is when she fills up the mana bar, she stuns an enemy unit. And she's not an especially strong unit. These are all early game units, so none of them are going to be especially strong, but they do have different abilities. Yes, Sejuani swings her mace, and she hits an enemy, and she can stun for a brief period of time. So you get the idea. You build your board, and then you compete against the other players, and that's kind of the basis of how the combat works in this game. You would always want to try to win the rounds. Well, generally speaking, you want to try to win rounds. There are some strategies based off of deliberately losing, but in general, of course, you want to try to win the rounds. When you win the round, you do not take damage. When you lose a round, you will take some damage. And the more, like the closer the round is, the less damage the loser takes. The more lopsided the fight is, the more damage the loser will take. So like if you just barely win a fight, the other side's not going to take much damage. But if it's like a crushing defeat, then they'll take a lot more. Also, damage goes up as the game goes on. So like this is a really close fight between my Leona and this Karma, and I just barely managed to win that fight. And I only do 2 damage to that person because, as you said, it was a very close fight. So they didn't end up taking much damage there. All right, now in addition to this, you will see that Leona, I was able to get 3 copies of Leona there. So she stars up and becomes a 2-star version of the unit. This is very basic to the gameplay. When you initially find units in the shop, they are a 1-star version. Getting 3 of them will rank up that unit and turn it into a 2-star version. And generally speaking, most of the time you build your game around getting 2-star units. So 3 copies of the unit, 2 stars them. They increase their stats, they get more health, they get more damage. They deal more damage with their abilities. They're just better all-around units. In addition, if you get 9 of a unit, that is 3 2-stars, so 3, 3, and 3, you can form a 3-star version of a unit, which is pretty rare to do. It's not impossible by any means, but it is fairly rare. And sometimes there are different strategies based around trying to get 3-star versions of units. You will not be seeing that in this game. I generally don't go for a lot of 3 stars. It tends to be a little bit less consistent, but as I said, there are some strategies based around trying to 3-star various units. So as mentioned, we started out with an initial carousel. Then we had the 3 minion rounds to kind of build our initial team, followed by 3 player versus player rounds. Now there is another item carousel here in the middle of the stage. So we're on stage 2-4, as the interface says up at the top. Then we will have another 2 PvP rounds, followed by a minion round, and then that pattern just continues. 3 PvP rounds, an item carousel, 2 PvP rounds, and then a minion round where you get more items to drop. So that's kind of the back and forth, the flow of the gameplay. And that just keeps going until until we're down to just 1 player and everyone else is eliminated. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Giant's Belt here. And the reason why I'm going to do that is it's going to allow me to create an item called Warmogs, which is going to provide just a humongous amount of health on Leona. And that is going to make my team comp even tankier here. So I want to talk a little bit more about my strategy in this particular game. I'm running through this trait called Mirage. Mirage is an interesting trait. It has different perks kind of from game to game. There are 7 different varieties of Mirage. It is basically a repeat of the mutant trait from the previous set. But there are 7 different versions of Mirage. Each game will have one of those 7 versions. And I have rolled the Mirage version called Electric Overcharge. Is that the exact wording? I'm trying to see if I'm getting this right here. It's the electric version of this trait. It's called Electric Overload. Oh, not Overcharge, Electric Overload. So I'll read the description. When attacking or being hit by an attack, gain a chance to deal 8% of the enemy's maximum health as magic damage to adjacent enemies. And at Mirage 2, it's a 20% chance. So this is I believe this is the electric trait from set 2, from way back in Rise of the Elements. But basically, there's kind of 2 ways to play this. You do have a chance to proc that electric charge on attacks, but it also has a chance to proc when people hit you. So one of the ways to play this when it pops up as the Mirage trait is just to be super duper tanky. And like other people will hit your units and they will basically kill themselves because they're just hitting you and hitting you and hitting you, and they can't kill the tanks, and those electric charges will keep going off periodically, and they will eventually just kill themselves. It's kind of a very funny way to play things, but like you will see those electric charges popping up. Leona is very tanky. She is innately like a frontline tank. The Guardian trait is also a trait that's on tanks. It causes them to shield when they get low on health. But like she has innate tankiness, plus she's 2-star, plus she has Guardian, plus she has the Warmogs, which is gives her 1,000 extra health, which is a ton at this stage of the game. So people just cannot get through my front line. They cannot kill my tanks, and they're killing themselves on those electric charges, which is pretty funny. All right, and then here I get a huge break of luck in my store. I hit Idas at 2% odds. So let's talk about the new special mechanic in this set, and that is dragons. So the dragon units are new to this set. Dragon units take up 2 slots. You can only run them at the cost of running 2 units. So for example, you will see I am level 5. I should have mentioned this before, but for every level, you get the chance to play an additional unit. I am level 5. Normally, I would be able to play 5 units, but I only get to play 4 if I want to run Idas. But as a trade-off for that, dragons have higher base stats, they have like higher base health, and they get higher like armor, magic resistance, damage, kind of the game's normal stats. And they get one of their traits triple. That is, you get like triple benefit from their trait. But this only applies if there's only one dragon in. So you can only run one dragon at a time under normal circumstances. So that's kind of the unique version of this set mechanic. The idea being that you're going to play dragons. Of course, you don't have to play dragons; they're not mandatory. You can run team competitions without dragons, but if you're going to run dragons, you can only run one of them. You can only pick one dragon. So you then kind of build your team composition around that dragon. Idis is the tank dragon. This is the dragon that's super tanky. So out of all the ones I might have found, this was literally the best one to find. Because, as I said, this is synergizing perfectly with my strategy. Now, to be clear, Idis does not have the Mirage trait, so hitting Idis will not proc those electrocute things. So, like, Idis himself will not generate those. However, Idis is super tanky, and by having Idis, I'm also able to get 4 Guardians in. And Guardian, I mentioned, is like one of the big tank traits in this set. I'll just read the description. Once per combat at 50% health, Guardians shield themselves and their closest ally for a percentage of their maximum health. Shield stack. Guardian 4, they will shield for 50% of their max health. So again, stacking lots of health means that I get a bigger shield, and it means that that value is going to be higher. So I just basically have a super duper tanky board. I actually don't deal very much damage at all. I'm pretty reliant on those electrocution procs going off. Now we have the second augment of the game, and I'm having to choose between these. I did think about taking Electrocharge, which would fit with my strategy, but I was like, I'm going to take this, the Portable Forge, which gives you the chance to pick from a couple of very, very powerful items. There's like 9 of them, and you randomly get to pick from between 3 of them. But the one that I wanted was there, which is Anima Visage. And this one causes the unit holding it to regenerate 5% of their health each round. It's only good if you're running a very, very heavy tank setup, but I am running a very, very heavy tank setup. So Leona is going to be generating, she has like the huge health benefit from getting the Warmogs, and now with Anima Visage, she's going to regenerate 5% of her max health every second. And other teams are going to have immense difficulty getting through that amount of defensive stats. And the idea is, again, they're just going to kill themselves on Leona with reflected damage. As I said, I really have very little offense in my board right now, and this is not usual for Teamfight Tactics. Normally you identify some kind of a carry unit, and then they are like your big damage dealer. I kind of have that in Yone, but not really. It's a 1-star Yone who's not very good. So yeah, it's mostly just people hit the Leona, and then they kill themselves on her armor. So this is kind of a hilarious setup here. It's like the non-violent resistance setup here. Everybody just punches Leona, and then they just eventually die on her armor. So I was having a lot of fun with this game. I do want to talk about one other trait, that is the Shimmer Scale trait, and this is the one that Idis has triple of. By the way, I find another dragon in my store, and it's Deja, the Mirage Dragon, so I'd really like to play this unit, but remember, you can only have one dragon in at a time. If you put more than one in, you give up the unique dragon benefits. They will not get triple version of their trait, and they will not get the extra bonus health that they get innately for being a dragon. So I had to play one or the other. All right, so as mentioned, Shimmer Scale trait. The only Shimmer Scale unit I have in right now is Idis, but because I get triple value of that trait, again, that's the unique thing that dragons do, I actually get the benefit of Shimmer Scale 3, so I just get like the first rank of Shimmer Scale by virtue of playing this dragon. Shimmer Scale is one of the economic traits in this set. It's very unusual. It grants you a random Shimmer Scale item. So like I have this item that I stuffed on Leona. It's the thing that has those, that has like the number 30 on it. I actually don't know what the name of this item is because there's like 8 different Shimmer Scale items, and this is still really new. But basically what it does is it makes Leona a little bit tankier, and if that stack value gets up to 30 in a fight, then 2 gold drops. You may have seen that happening at various points in time in the fights. So Leona never dies, so it's very easy for her to get that stacked up to 30. So I'm just basically getting 2 free gold per round, which is really good. And I wanted to play Idis anyway because he makes me super tanky. He gives me a rank of Guardian. His 2 traits are Guardian plus Shimmer Scale. Guardian does not get the triple benefit. It's Shimmer Scale that gets the triple benefit. So I wanted to play Idis anyway, but like getting this free economic benefit as well is just super nice. So I'm not going to complain about that at all. So I've been high rolling pretty hard here. I found the Idis at 2% odds. And then I found the Deja, which I can't play at the moment, but I'm hoping eventually I'll be able to play. I also found the Itis at 5, or the Deja at the other dragon on my bench at 5% odds. So what do I mean when I talk about odds? Well, let's talk a little bit more about the in-game economy in Teamfight Tactics. Now, if you look down at the bottom of your screen where the shop is, that's kind of where all the economic information in this game is stored. I'm hoping my past self will go back to this. I'm scouting some of the other teams' boards right now. I'm looking at these teams I might be likely to face. All right, there we go. So if you look at the shop, you can see that different champions have different costs. Jinx right there is a 2 cost. Karma is a 1 cost. So different champions cost different amounts of money to purchase in the shop. And this means that some units are innately going to be more valuable, better units than others. The 1 cost units are your early game units. Normally you will look to move out of those units as the game goes on. Elsewhere though, you have 1 cost, 2 cost, 3 cost, 4 cost, and 5 cost units. And at the end of the game, you want to be mostly playing 4 and 5 cost units. They need to be like your big carry units because they have stronger abilities, they have higher base stats. And if you're just trying to run a bunch of 1 and 2 costs at the end of the game, you usually end up losing, unless you can 3-star those units. But again, that tends to be a little bit rare. So if you look at the interface right above where the picture of Swain is, you will see different numbers there. You will see, I actually just leveled, so you will see 19%, 30%, 35%, 15%, 1%. Those are the odds for those units to appear in your store. So right now, it's 19% odds for the 1 cost units to pop up, 30% odds for the 2 cost units to pop up, and so on and so forth. You cannot even get the 4 and 5 cost units at the start of the game. Like, they just won't show up in the store. You have to raise your level to higher levels for them to show up. And now that I'm level 7, I have 1% odds for the legendary units, the 5 cost units, to start showing up. So this is the reason why you want to increase your level over the course of the game. Obviously, it lets you play more units. As mentioned before, for each level, you get to play an additional unit. And that does matter if you have like 8 units on your board and someone else has 5. Like, that does matter. It's obviously better to have more units on the board. But the other reason, and in many ways the more important reason, is just that it increases those shop odds. By the way, this is the closest fight we've had in a while. It's like, can Leona manage to clutch this out? Leona, again, does not deal really any damage herself. I just relying on those electrocute procs to pop up. It's like, oh, she's getting really low. She's dead. Now it's down to just Thresh. Can Thresh win this duel with Ashen? Yes. We were actually about to have a double loss because overtime was about to run out. There is a time limit on how long these battles can last. We almost had a double loss there, but nope, I was able to win the battle and keep going. So just to finish that point, the general idea is you want to increase your level over time because it lets you play more units, and you also get better shop odds to get those more expensive units. So for example, Corki is in my shop right now. Corki is a 4-cost unit. He is someone you can base your endgame team composition around. He's not someone I'm going to play in this game, but he is someone you can base your endgame team composition around. So there are 2 other things you can do with gold. In addition to just buying units in the store, you also have the option to spend gold to level. So you can pay 4 gold for 4 experience. I've been doing that throughout the game. So I just sank 8 gold into 8 experience. So that's one thing you can do, and that's how you can level up over the course of the game. The other thing you can do is you can pay 2 gold to refresh your store. It says it on the interface, refresh 2. So you can pay money to refresh your shop, and then you will see a new flop of champions, just like a hand of cards, at the start of when you pay that 2 gold. So you always get a shop refresh at the beginning of the round, and then you can also spend money to get a shop refresh as well. And, ideally, you'd be sinking your money into leveling because it's better to level. Generally speaking, you'd rather put your money into leveling since, again, it gives you better odds to get up to higher tiers, play more units, play better units, find the more expensive units, etc. But, every game, you're not just going to be winning as easily as I'm doing here. I'm actually winning these rounds pretty easily in this game. What happens if you're just losing? Like, what if you're the person who's on 32 health right now? Like, this is the person I'm hitting. They're on 32 HP. Well, maybe your board is just really weak, and you need to get stronger right now. So you might have to sink money into refreshing the shop so you can get stronger right away. And that's the other big use of gold in this game. All right, now look at what I've got here. We have one of the most unique augments here in the set, Dragon Horde. The dragon trait remains active regardless of how many dragons you have. So this is a very unusual augment. There's 2 of these, Dragon Horde and Dragon Alliance, and this allows you to break the rules. Normally, remember how I said you can only have 1 dragon in play at a time? This augment lets you break that rule. So I am just going to take this, and that's going to allow me to play both Itis and Deja Deja is the Mirage Dragon. So now I'm getting this benefit from both of the dragons, which again, normally I would not be able to do. So yeah, this is a little bit unusual in the sense that this is like violating the set mechanic, but I'm going to play both of these dragons in this game because Idis is going to be super duper tanky, and then Deja is going to provide me 3 ranks of the Mirage trait. Remember, Mirage is really the trait I'm playing through here. It's the one that does that electrocute thing when people hit the Mirage units, but by playing Deja, I'm going to get more ranks in this trait. And in fact, I should be able to get up to Mirage 6 in this game if I want to, because there's one more Mirage unit I want to play, Yasuo, who's a legendary 5-cost unit. I haven't found him yet, but I'm hoping I will. And then when I get him, I'll be able to just run Mirage 6, which in this game would be 33% chance on any time that a Mirage unit attacks or is attacked, 33% chance to deal 8% of the enemy's maximum health as magic damage. Deja is a wind dragon. So unlike Idis, who's a tank, Deja stands in the back lines, and Deja fires off wind blasts at the enemy. And generally speaking, you want to itemize attack speed on Deja. Rage Blade is a very good item because it provides additional attack speed. And then like on-hit magic damage or just additional AP tends to be good because Deja deals magic damage, not physical damage. All right, here I'm going to try to reforge this glove that I had on my bench. I didn't end up getting what I was hoping. I was hoping to get half of a Rage Blade. I was not able to do so. So basically, I want attack speed on Deja, and I have no attack speed on that dragon right now. But yeah, I get to play multiple dragons, which is really cool. And look, I'm actually up against someone who is also playing multiple dragons. They have the same augment that I do over there. After you get 3 augments, you don't get any more augments for the rest of the game. It's just those 3. So everyone will have 3 over the course of the game. This is one of the most replayable parts of this set and the set before it, set 6, because you're going to get different augments every game, and they're going to change up the pattern of how you play these games. So like normally, if I'm playing a Mirage team composition, I would not be able to play both Deja and Idis at the same time. So like the augments are what makes the game more variable from game to game, and also helps to create more interest because you know the games are going to be different each time you play. You're going to get different augments, you're going to build different teams, and it helps to make it so you're not just building the exact same team over and over and over again. Here we have another one of our carousels. Remember, they come in the middle of every stage, so we're in the middle of stage 4 right now, and some of the other players are starting to get pretty low, so people are probably going to get knocked out soon. I was, again, hoping to get either a bow or a rod, which would be for half of a Rage Blade, but I don't get that. So I was like, there is another way that I can get some attack speed. What if I go ahead and take this sword that's sitting on Yone and combine it together with this belt, and then I'll be able to make a Zeke's Herald, which is an aura item, and it will provide attack speed to Yone himself, and also will provide attack speed to whoever is standing next to Yone. So I believe that I make this item here, if I'm remembering correctly. I make it at some point in time in the game. So yeah, here we go. Zeke's Herald grants, I believe it's 30% attack speed to the unit holding it and the 2 units standing next to them. So this is one way to get attack speed on Deja. Is I would prefer to have like a Rage Blade, but I can also just get the, make this Zeke's. So this is important. I want attack speed both because it synergizes really well with Deja's ability, firing out those wind blasts. But remember, the Mirage electrocution procs, it's whenever I am hit by an enemy, but also when I hit an enemy. So increasing attack speed also makes it more likely that those electricity procs are going to appear. And yeah, I just have this super tanky front line, and other people are having extreme difficulty at getting through that front line. Again, this was played on the very first day of set 7, so this set is very, very new to pretty much everybody. I have the experience of playing a bunch of games on the public beta environment, the PBE, so I'm a little bit more familiar with this, but it's still very new to me as well. As far as what I'm doing in like the wider picture, I'm just kind of chilling here. I'm trying to just econ up to level 9, and then at level 9, I will try to find Yasuo, who, as I mentioned, is the legendary 5-cost Mirage unit. And we'll just see what we can play from there. I may try to take some of these Guardians and replace them with better units. So, like, I'm playing Leona. Leona's going to stay in my team because Leona is, she's a Mirage unit, so she will stay in here regardless. And Idis is going to stay in here regardless. But I could look to take out the Thresh and take out the Braum. They're both Guardians. They're providing Guardian 4. They're both 2-cost units, so I can probably find something better than them. Like, I could just look to play more 5-cost units, and that's one of the things that, as you start to get better at this game, you need to be working to do. You need to be looking to update your board as time goes on, like move out of the 1- and 2-cost units, move into higher tier units, and it can be worthwhile to drop traits for that as well. Like, even though removing those units would take me down to Guardian 2, it's probably still worthwhile to do that if I can stop playing 2-cost units and play like 5-cost units instead, because they're just inherently better units. All right, now here's the other new mechanic in this set, in set 7, the Treasure Dragon. So you have this option to refresh the store, and you can keep refreshing for 1 gold cost until you find stuff that you like. I actually don't like this mechanic very much because it allows people to greed for perfect item components, which I think is bad for gameplay, but it is what it is. So, you know, if you want to, you can spend 1 gold and you can keep refreshing the shop until you find what you're looking for. I ultimately see that there's a Zeke's in there, and I was like, oh, I can build double Zeke's. Well, that's very good. So I decided to take that shop. And I also find a Yasuo in the store, which is great. By the way, you also have to pick up the items. You see the big glowing blue orb? I also have to pick that up at some point. I have forgotten that it's still sitting there. It's like, oh yeah, I have to go pick that up. So now I'm trying to figure out what items I'm going to put. So I'm going to use Yone as my Zeke's holder. That's going to grant, again, attack speed to the people next to them. And then I want to get Yasuo into my team composition. I have found now Yasuo, the legendary 5-cost Mirage unit. So I will go ahead and look to put him in. And it only costs 10 gold to level, so I'm just going to go ahead and put Yasuo in as well. We'll move Thresh out of the way. And so there we go. Here is our kind of our final board. We have 2 Dragon, which again, normally you wouldn't be able to have, along with 6 Mirage, 4 Guardian. I still have that Shimmer scale, and then I've got Warrior trait in as well. Warrior trait is not key to my team composition, but it does add a little bit of extra damage. It is a trait that's on Yone and Yasuo. Warrior attacks have 33% chance to increase the damage of their next attack. So I've got a lot of percentage-based stuff right here, but basically it just means that they have a chance to do extra damage on their next auto attack. So now I'm trying to decide what my last item is going to be. I've got some components here. I can make Redemption, or I can make Frozen Heart, or I can make a Sunfire Cape. And these each have different properties. Itemization tends to be one of the things that throws off new players the most. It's very confusing for new players. All I can really say is it just takes some time to get used to the items. They come in components, and you can combine 2 components together to make items. And that's kind of the basic way of how it works, with different items doing different things. All of the items I have here are mostly tank items, so I'm trying to decide how I want to put this together. I also decide I'm going to sell the Leona and replace her, and the reason why I'm doing this is I want to transfer these items over to Idis, who again, as a 4-cost dragon, is a better unit than Leona. Leona is a 1-cost unit. So I'm going to transfer these items over, and I ultimately decided I would put Sunfire Cape. I was trying to decide between Frozen Heart or Sunfire Cape, but Sunfire Cape is a heal debuff, and I did not have that on my team, so I decided I would put that on Idis. So for any team composition that has a lot of healing in it, this will debuff their healing. It reduces healing in half. So now Idis should be even more unkillable. I don't think Idis has died in a very long time, but Idis now has like 4,000 health and regenerates 5% of that every single second, and has 4 Guardian in place. So like this unit just really does not die. I'm hoping to get more items now for Yasuo, and also hoping to get more items for Deja. Deja really doesn't have much, but Deja's still hitting pretty hard because I have Mirage 6 in, and in addition to that, I also, remember, have the double Zeke's, so that's adding 60% attack speed to Deja, which is kind of like making up for the fact that Deja has no other items, just has like this random tier. So I'm going to go ahead and roll here. This is really the first time I've been rolling the whole game, just because I've been so strong I haven't had to. So again, every time I spend 2 gold, I get a refresh of my shop, and that's going to allow me to see more shops here. I also do need to mention one other thing, probably should have talked about sooner. That is the interest mechanic in this game. You should be thinking about how much money you get at the start of each round. Well, there is a formula for that, and it's based on a couple different things. The first one is it's based on how much gold you have in your bank. For every 10 gold in your bank, you get another 5 gold at the start of the next round. Or every 10 gold, you get another 1 gold in your bank. So if you have 10 gold in your bank, you will get +1. If I have 40 gold, like I do right now, I will get 4 additional gold. Then you also will get gold based on whether you're on a win streak or a losing streak. The more rounds you've won or lost in a row, the more gold you will get in the shop. So I believe it's when you're on a 2-round win streak or loss streak, you get 2 gold. Or it's a 2 or 3 round win streak or loss streak, you get +1 gold. And then it goes up to eventually 3 gold if you're on a 5-match win streak or loss streak. So you can see why people would sometimes want to deliberately lose rounds. If you get on a big loss streak, you can get 3 additional gold per round. And then you always get 5 gold per round at the start of each round as well. So like right now, I'm on this massive win streak. I have 40 gold in the bank, so that'll be 5 gold base plus 4 gold for my interest plus 3 gold. So I get, what is that? 5 plus 4 is 9 plus 3, so I get 12 at the start of a round right now. And that's why I was trying to stay over 50 gold most of the time, so that I could get that maximum 5 gold income from from the gold that you have in your bank. As I said, probably should have mentioned that sooner. But now that I'm level 9, there's not really any reason why I need to hold this gold. I'm just trying to hit the Yasuo 2-star right now. And then I'm also holding some other units. Like I picked up this Bard, who is a very strong utility unit, who is a legendary unit. So I'm considering playing this unit, but I decided I would wait to see if I actually lost a round first. I was like, you know what, my board has won 12 rounds in a row. Let's just stick with this until someone actually beats us. And if they do, then I can look to maybe move into legendary units. Like I said, take out the Braum, take out the Thresh, because I can probably find better units than them. And Bard would be one of those units. Bard is a strong unit, so that's why I'm holding them on my bench. But right now I'm just looking for 2-star Yasuo. And that's kind of like the basics to this game overall. I think I've covered most of the things. The more you play, the more you can get used to kind of some of the more advanced concepts. Like, it's pretty simple to just stay over 50 gold, so you always get the maximum income. Now I've 2-starred my entire board, so there's not really much for me to roll for. But like sometimes you will want to push levels more aggressively because like you're on a win streak and you want to keep win streaking because it's worth gold to do so. So like you'll level early. And even if it cuts into your income, I actually did that a couple times in this game, leveling early because I wanted to, both play another unit so that I could hopefully keep win streaking and hopefully get that additional income. And then there's other times where like you deliberately sack rounds. You're like, all right, I don't think I'm going to win these rounds, but like I'd rather just have more money in my bank. And so I'll just accept that I'm probably going to lose these next couple rounds. And like those are some of the more complicated things to keep in mind. Like, a big thing is assessing how strong your board is in relationship to everybody else's board so you can make decisions like that. This has not been a good game for that because I've just kind of been steamrolling the entire lobby. But as you play the game more, you get used to that and about how to make decisions along those lines. I'm actually going to get a redemption here, which is not what I'm looking for. I honestly wanted another item for Deja or Yasuo, so can't really use this. Like, I don't really need another tank item, which is what this is, but oh well. I'll just slap it on Leona to make her a little bit more tanky. Each unit can only hold 3 items, so that's the limit. You can only put 3 items on each unit. And as I said, this was not really what I was looking for, but sometimes you get items that are better fits than others, and this one was not really what I quite wanted. So, as I said, this is more or less the conclusion of this game. Nobody's beaten me in a while, so now it's like, will anyone be able to beat my board? I mean, it doesn't look like it. There's not even very much for me to roll right now. I guess I could theoretically try to 3-star these units, but I'm not really close to 3-starring anything, so it does not seem too likely that that's going to happen. I've got Pike and Bard ready to put in. They're both 2-stars, both 5-cost 2-stars, so they would almost certainly be better than some of these units I'm running, but whatever. I will mention this. You can always see what other people are running in this game. This is not a game with hidden knowledge. You can always see what other people are running on the other board. So I've been trying to do some scouting throughout this match, looking what other people are running. Like, you can see what traits they're running. You can see what units they're running. Positioning is a big deal, specifically in the late game. Here in set 7, you also can see which people you are most likely to be up against. There is a little cross swords icon that will show who you can potentially face. And for most of the game, it's one of the 3 players in the lobby. Right now, that's kind of going away because like now there's only 2 of us left in the lobby period. So like there's not much of a mystery. But you can like look at that and get an idea of who you're going to be up against. And it is important to position a lot of the time. For example, the last time I hit this person Saiyan's Dance, I was actually able to get Thresh to hook their Aurelian Soul, who's their big carry unit. I was actually able to get Thresh to hook that unit, and they have now responded by moving that unit over a tile. But I'm going to continue the positioning right now because Thresh will hook Nidalee with the initial hook, but if Thresh gets off a second hook, it's going to go ahead and hit that Aurelian Soul, so I'm kind of hoping that that will happen. I don't really think that my board's going to lose. I'm on a 15-match winning streak. I think that my board is significantly stronger than this person. They're running the Astral trait, which makes it easier to 3-star some of the Astral units. They actually have 3-starred pretty much their entire board, but look at that Yasuo ultimate. Dashes right into the middle of the team, knocks everybody up in the air, and we're not really in much danger. Look at that. There's the Thresh Hook right on the Aurelion Soul. Yasuo's going in again. My whole front line is still alive. Yasuo is still alive. Aurelion Soul can be a super strong unit, but it wasn't really itemized properly by this person. So I'm just going to say GG, good luck in set 7. I get no response. Not a very talkative group here. But that's going to be it for this one. So a very, very comfortable game. As I said, I've been playing on the public beta environment, so I already had some experience, and I don't think the other people in this lobby had that same benefit. But this was a very easy game, and hopefully a good chance to just walk through some of the basic mechanics of the set and introduce people to what Teamfight Tactics looks like. They're not all this easy, I will say that. In any case, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this, and hey, hope that we'll see you around some for TFT Set 7.